For next agenda item, we go back to Dr. Sharon Le Gall, who will present an overview of the educational materials which are being prepared to be used in the project. I take the opportunity also to say that our colleagues from the observatory are here with us in the webinar. I see Ms. Vilcek. Please, Sharon.
Oops.
You're not sharing your presentation.
Okay, hold on. My apologies. Hold on. Okay.
Here.
Are you seeing the presentation now?
We are seeing it. It's
okay.
You should put it in slide. Yes. Perfect.
Wonderful. And good morning again. And welcome to the members of the observatory in particular, because this is the part of the proceedings where we look at the educational materials developed by that department. So welcome, well, good afternoon actually. So the presentation format, so we've been talking about the materials used to assist trainers, the materials used to assist students. We're looking at the materials developed by the European Union Intellectual Property Office Observatory. The particular project, Ideas Powered at School. So I'm going to provide a brief overview of those materials, my initial findings and preliminary observations, and some initial feedback I got when I engaged with persons from the Ministry of Education about those materials. As I mentioned, the EU IPO Observatory manages a project, Ideas Powered, which is a compilation of activities and lesson kits divided according to target age groups, beginning from as young as 3 years old to 18 plus. And that's interesting because I fascinating 10-age children at that age. So the observatory has teaching materials for these age groups. Those materials were developed by the EU IPO along with education experts to give teachers of all subjects and ages all the information, ideas, and ready-to-use activities and games to engage their students. And you can visit the website and have a look at the materials that are up there. One of the deliverables of this pilot project, as I mentioned before, is to adapt these materials to the Caribbean context. And the focus of our project will be the 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 15, and 16 to 18 age groups. I will just start off by looking at one of the documents they prepared, IP Basics for Teachers, and then I will go into some of the materials that they've prepared for primary school teachers and secondary school teachers. But generally, the IP Basics for Teachers cuts across both levels. This particular document provides an overview of the most commonly used intellectual property rights. The document also includes an IP quiz. The document covers copyright, the nature of those rights and exceptions to those rights. And those exceptions would be important to teachers because, you know, there are some exceptions for teaching purposes, research purposes. Trademarks, you're looking at the rights according to trademark holders, the advantages and disadvantages of protection, design right protection, what can be protected, how it can be protected, the advantages of those protection, that form of protection. Geographical indications, the nature and function of geographical indications, trade secrets, the criteria for protection, and patents. What is protected, the criteria, registration, what are the disadvantages to protection? The materials for primary schools include board games, lesson packs, playground games, an Inventors Corner, logo making. I will go through a couple. So in terms of playground games, They utilize games such as hopscotch, snakes and ladders, netball to introduce basic concepts, IP concepts to students, exposing concepts of personal property versus intellectual property. And the resources that you need for such games include chalk, hoops, balls, copies of pictures. So you are provided with a kit, and you also have some adapt to your particular environment and circumstances. The Inventors Corner is another activity that you can do with your students. The activity begins with a discussion about what are important inventions, what leads people to invent, how are our lives impacted by inventions, and how do inventions change over time. And students are required to work in pairs or groups to investigate the work of an important inventor and prepare a poster of the best invention. The final part of the project is to identify a modern day problem and ask students to use their creativity and investigative spirit to invent a solution to this problem. Inventions will be presented and then displayed in the Inventors Corner. And as we can see, similar kinds of activities are already taking place in our schools. Another activity would be logo making. The goal of this activity is to allow students of all ages to express their creativity through designing a personalized logo, which can be used to decorate a t-shirt or other object. And they will be given an introduction to logo design, where they are asked to identify logos for different types of products and services. I'm sure if we look around in our current environment, we will see different logos and names on different items. Okay, I look across at my television, I see Samsung on it. And I show you it's not branded, the brands of the computer. So we can look around and see that, as they say, IP is all around us. In terms of secondary schools, there is a creativity diary, game, a board game, an entrepreneurship lesson kit, and materials, subject area materials for secondary school teachers, guiding them into how they can incorporate IP in a variety of subjects. In terms of the creativity diary, 21 days to a more creative life, students are invited on designated days to create something, be it a t-shirt, a story, a cartoon strip, a design for their bedroom, a new home, an app for school. And on other days, they're invited to think about things that they love, people, places, animals, objects, world issues they worry about, and use these things to inspire them to create. So every day there is something creative to do or relating to a creative activity over a 21-day period. There's also the Entrepreneurship lesson kit. This kit is designed to help secondary and vocational school teachers to promote the entrepreneurial spirit through practical activities to develop 21st century skills and attitudes in their students. Entrepreneurship is a skill that can be taught. The lesson kit consists of several sections or blocks, including what is an entrepreneur, why become an entrepreneur, introducing examples of young startup businesses, activities around creativity and ideas generation, IP basics for young entrepreneurs, writing business plans, and creating a winning pitch selling your ideas. In terms of various subject areas that IP may be incorporated, in which IP may be incorporated, we have art, economics, geography, history, IT, language, music, the STEM stream, and sports. These are digital handouts on the various subject areas, and they generally tend to follow a particular format for each subject area. You have an introduction, you have a relevant IP introduction, IP discussion, based on the particular topic. So it may be copyright, it may be trademarks, it may be patents, or it may be geographical indications. Like I said, relevant to the particular subject area. There are certain goals and outcomes, the rationale for considering IP in this particular context, and there are various steps concerning some activities and a link to various resources. So using the subject area of geography as an example, there will be an introduction to geographical indications with the provision of links to relevant resources. Students are given a task to search for a local or regional product that may be given more prominence or qualifying as a geographical indication. They should prepare a presentation and pitch their ideas to the class. And at this stage, I invite all the participants to think of an item or product that you think that could qualify for a geographical indication, and feel free to post it in the chat. This is followed by a brainstorming session with students on how intellectual property contributes to the economic development of a country or region using examples. This activity could be combined, with a study visit to a local company. So that's step 2. In terms of step 3, students are required to create a new product, which could bring jobs, economic growth, and export possibilities to the country or region. The groups should prepare a presentation to introduce the product idea and definition, name, logo, or brand, and business plan. The class could vote on the best idea, step 3. And step 4, there will be a reflection session after the exercise in which learners share their experiences about the task with others, discussing the following steps. What have they learned from the activity? Was it a useful activity to have engaged in? Has the activity increased their IP awareness? So that is one example of how you can introduce IP concepts into a particular subject area and the task that you may give the students to perform. So some initial observations when I went through the materials produced by the EU IPO Observatory. They are largely translatable because we're all TRIPS compliant. So we're utilizing basically the same baseline intellectual property principles. However, there may be minor adjustments to be made to reflect our particular historical context, because references to historical references will probably have to be swapped out to, British references in our case. So what's the initial feedback? There are 2 areas of initial feedback that I got. Firstly, in terms of the subject areas, consideration should be given to the visual and performing arts, general and social sciences, principles of accounts, principles of business. And as we saw, I believe in one of the earlier presentations, they're already including intellectual property principles in the principles of business course. And the age groups covered. Consideration could be given to post-secondary but pre-tertiary cohorts. So there's a group of students that consideration could be given to that are not captured in the current scope of the project. And that's it for the initial feedback on the educational materials.